Welcome to the Heartlight Sessions, a podcast about light working your way through dark times. I'm Jenee Halstead. I'm a singer-songwriter, holistic vocal coach, intuitive guide, and plant medicine facilitator. I'm also a survivor of childhood abuse, autoimmune issues, and my 30s. I'm on a lifelong healing journey, and along the way, I want to share the ideas and teachings that rock my world. Every week on Heartlight Sessions, I call in artists, healers, and thinkers to explore what's helped them live and thrive from a heart-centered place. Because the heart, it's where the best things happen. If you've ever wondered how to unlock your biggest breakthroughs or how to come back from that stuff that tried to kill you, you know the stuff I'm talking about, the stuff that's supposed to make you stronger. Or if you've ever wondered how to just do you straight from the heart, you're in the right place. So join me, won't you? Let's turn on that heart light. Turning on my heart light. 1,000 volts of sunshine. Okay, here we are. It's official. My first podcast guest and my teacher. I would like to welcome Keren-Or Atari. Yeah. So this feels very, very special to me to have you on as my first guest.
Thank you, Jenee. It's such an honor also to be able to be in your presence and present to your audience, and hopefully nourish them with some insights.
Yeah. So I know a little bit about your story, and I was wondering if you could tell the audience how your awakening journey happened, if you had found the Curandero lineage that you currently teach from, or if there were other things that were happening in your life that led to your spiritual awakening.
I would say that everything happened in the same year. And right now that it's really interesting that Pluto is going in finish 20 years and going into Aquarius. So 20 years ago, this is where a lot of things happened to me. So wow. I'm Israeli, and I used to live in New York, in Manhattan, and I was I had all these difficulties of a new mom in a city by myself almost, and I probably needed a lot of healing, but even the word healing didn't come to my mind,
right.
And didn't really understand it. I was maximum was thinking about I wish I could clear space to receive a massage,
right. Right.
Like something physical. I didn't really understand. I was into yoga and I read some spiritual books, but I think the concept of healing was still far.
Yeah.
And I went to this one community in Costa Rica, and they offered different things. And I remember the first thing that I've experienced and I was initiated is into Reiki.
Wow.
And I think it was pretty powerful experience because it did something to my heart. I didn't even know my heart was closed. I was just in suffering,
Yep.
Living in the city and have these difficulties and whatever, and everything was closed and blocked, and I was not even aware of it, that it can be different. And how when you have that shift, when you get the healing, something, then you realize you realize something was off, and you get better alignment, and the heart starts singing.
Wow,
there's more breathing, and there's more joy coming, and there's flow of energy, and it's oh my God. And and then I realized I can apply to myself, and I can use my hands to direct energy. And from there I participated in another class that called soul retrieval, soul pulling.
Mm-hmm.
And that class was about bringing back different soul parts from places that you had different traumas, and you didn't even need to think about which trauma. It was very fast. And I remember coming out of there, and I was crying and crying and crying, and I think the tears were really this welcome home, really come home to myself. I haven't realized it back then. I was just I didn't understand why I'm crying. But today I know that I got reconnected to my soul. And from there, a lot of things happened that brought me to the medicine circle and to expansion of consciousness and, and all of that. And when like you talk about expansion of consciousness is more specific about realizing that everything that you know in theory, you get it from inside is a no. There's that whatever you think is like spiritual, it's actually it's real. It's not a theory anymore. Understand? And that was like so big for me that I couldn't, like, everything shifted since then. Like, what happened when you connect to your soul? Everything that is off first has to let go before something new will enter. So I felt the new wave that is coming, but there were so many things that were off, including my marriage, including living in Manhattan, including the profession that I used to work. I used to be graphic designer. And although I still like to play with things today, we're like designing things, but it was not the main like life purpose. It was not that, I was always in office. I always painted. And I think this is something that like vitamins always nourish my body, my soul, my spirit. And this is like, was always part of my life, but my profession was off. My marriage was already, was not working, but as like first marriage, as I was like, you get married, you think it's forever. You have to deal with difficulties and it will pass. And maybe one day you'll do therapy or whatever. And what happens when your consciousness like is open, you get that you realize what is true. And then you don't want to waste your time anymore.
Yeah.
Because if anything that you lived was off, it is just better to let it go quickly so you can go on the path. It's not easy. It's not something that like, you do from one day to another, but it's like, you open for you like a new tunnel and you can see a light at the end of the tunnel and you say, all right, I'm going there.
Totally.
This is my new path. I'm not even sure what is happening there in that light, but I know this is the direction.
Yeah.
So, I think this is really what healing is doing. This is what expansion of consciousness is doing. And what I realized that my main tool in this work is courage. Just
courage. Yeah. You're incredibly courageous. So how long before you find the work that you're in now so Keren-Or is, I would say, a master teacher. Is that what they call you? In the Mayan Curandero lineage?
Yes.
And so how long after this process do you find Star Fuentes, who's the holder of the lineage?
So after that, like opening, healing, expansion, that was like a process of probably like almost a year. I found myself back in Israel and I started to look for different classes from that lineage that brought this soul retrieval, because I realized I was very powerful.
The soul pulling.
It was like 5-minute work that changed my life.
Yep.
And it was very powerful. And I heard different like things that from the teachings, like light language. And the language of light is like geometry and color, which was anyway like something that I used to play with, geometry and color, but more on another level of the energetic level, a multidimensional level. And as an artist, I was really attracted to it. It just was like vibrating, like something that I have to learn. And anything else, I was like, I'm going to learn anything from this lineage. I was just, it was just a calling and a know. And that knowing, it was just like, okay, let's look for whatever I can find. And there's different classes that came from the Mayan lineage. And that the same teacher that was teaching in Costa Rica, came to Israel. So I went
Oh.
to study another, it was like the matrix activation. I didn't know what it is, but it was like a major healing work. And I was like,
Yep.
okay, I'm going for it until light language will come on my way. And what happened that besides that was really powerful alignment, another one, I think everything that I've done in this lineage, every little thing was like it looks like very small course. It was very, very powerful. And beside that, I used like something has shifted because it felt like I'm very high. The vibration was very, very high frequency. And I used to go to sleep and wake up in the middle of the night. It looks like I'm on on a high vibration medicine,
Yeah.
drugs, whatever. I was like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
I was like so high. And I remembered my teacher and she was teaching me things and I saw the other students. And I was like, what's happening? My dreams became real. And then I come back to sleep and, and then I talked to my teacher and I was like, what's happening? And it's like, this is night school. It's like night school. I didn't know if it even exists. And he said, like, yeah, when you go to sleep, we meet in night school, you study a lot of things on like other levels, on the spiritual level, the subconscious, and it's many like, something that we call today downloads, but they called caught teachings. So I was really fascinated, basically. And when I learned that, afterwards I learned light language, and then I decided I have to meet the lineage holder. Fuentes. I just knew it, and I was surprised that it was like easier than I thought. She lives in Arkansas in Hot Springs, and I called her and I scheduled private teachings with her, and it happened. And I remember like being in the airplane, and I had the book. I think it was like the book of death from like the Buddhist, the Tibetan.
Oh, the Tibetan Book of the Dead?
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
And it has like a phrase, that the only phrase that really stayed with me from there, that it said like, sometimes you're lucky in a lifetime to meet your teacher. Yeah. And I was just on my way to meet her. And it was so powerful that I knew that like she's my teacher.
Wow.
Yeah. And many years later, like, I probably met her 18 years ago. And I went to many, many classes. I met her for more private teachings and group teachings and different settings. And beyond that, I feel her guidance like a spiritual guide.
Yeah.
She appears in my visions. She teaches me things. She gives me download. I see her in night school where she gives me different teachings. Wow. And since I arrived to her, I knew that my path is to be also a teacher in this lineage. Yep. Not only to study the different techniques, but also to teach them. Yep. And to teach night school and all of that. And another thing that was like really, I think was, it's a little cute, but, a little story. But I think one of the time in a year, like few months after I met her, I came back again to her for one conference. And I had time to stay by myself and I didn't know what to do. So I was like, okay, I'm going to watch a video. And I looked at the cassettes. There were like cassettes there, Yeah. Tapes. And I saw it was like Harry Potter. And I heard about Harry Potter. I never read the books. And I was like, okay, I'm going to watch it. And I was like, I was blown away. I mean, I'm Star Fuentes' house by myself watching Harry Potter. And I was like, yes, I arrived to Hogwarts.
Totally. This is all real. This magic is real. Yeah. And I have been to Hogwarts.
Yeah.
So
exactly. And there's so many things that like from this film that are real, but they're coming in different forms that people can just connect to it. Yep. And it's funny because like my daughter grew up reading the books, and my first daughter and watching the films together. And anytime I had to teach her something or educate about anything, relationship or whatever, I used to like give her a reference from Harry Potter.
Makes the parenting easier.
Yeah, she had the map.
Yeah, exactly. Here you
And
go.
she said, like, why don't I get an invitation? She was really disappointed. And it's like, well, I guess when your teacher is like, your mother is a teacher in the school, you don't get a special invitation. You
Yeah,
already
exactly.
get
Exactly.
immediate access.
Yes, when I met you, it's funny because Dana, who's my best friend and brought me to you, she tells this story of the first time meeting you. And there's a big gathering, there's a big room of people, and there's a guy there that's like triggering everyone. And Dana tells this story very dramatically. She's got a flair for stories. So she says she's watching everybody in the room go down. He's got his little button on everyone in the room. He's probably so full of like entities or whatever, and he's just triggering everyone. And people are going down, and then she sees you with him interacting, and she said not only did you stand there and you were completely unfazed, but you were clearly also like holding a compassionate stance. And she said that's when I knew that that was my teacher. I wanted to work with her. And that's exactly meeting you and having the opportunity to work with you and just seeing how like that is the sign of someone walking their path of true mastery, of just being like unfuckable with. And I remember thinking like, what, it's been a year and a half since DI, or it's been 2 years almost since I got a chance to study with you in Brazil. And I remember watching you through the 2 weeks and wondering like, how does one get to that point?
Okay, this is really the path of mastery, and I think is really relevant and important question to understand how do you get to a place where your core, your center is strong enough that you don't get off from like any emotion or anyone pushing your buttons or whatever weather that's changing. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
life is full of surprises and a lot of things that can get us off, and working on our center and our strength is something that is ongoing work. It's like going to
Yep.
the gym. You don't, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you can be born like strong, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, you have to maintain it, or you can develop it. Anyone can develop their like stronger center. And
Yep.
the thing is really to understand that, like, first, like the core issues of what push your buttons, what make you more
Mm-hmm.
emotional, what like activate your thoughts to be off and like throw you off center.
Yep.
And I think the first thing is really to understand, when are you in your center? Because like
Mm.
most people that I know, they don't even understand what it means. And
Wow.
I think like I like to explain it as like, being in your heart. Our heart is our center. So when you are like aligned between spirit and earth, you have like a place where, like, in the chakras, that you have 3 chakras below, 3 chakras above, and the heart is just in the middle. So this is like our center. And also to be balanced between receiving and giving, and to be in the present moment. That means that you not too much thinking about what happened in the past, or worry about the future. Normally future, or you can be dreaming, daydreaming, or worries, but it's still not being present. So there's a container field that you learn to hold together with what you mentioned, like with a compassionate place of understanding that everyone are on the path of growth and evolution and enlightenment. They're
Yep.
in different places.
Yep.
And when we are judging, we are reducing our own light, you
Totally.
know and I think like just like good exercises to be a whole day without judgment, and just start
Mm.
watching.
Yeah.
It's so difficult, think
Yeah.
about politics of the neighbors, or the dog that is barking, or the food in the restaurant that is too salty, or this or this or that. I mean, there's so many. so many ways to be judgmental all the time.
Yep.
And also about ourselves. Oh my God, my hair, my curls, my skin, oh my butt, or whatever. Like, is something that can throw us off all the time, like being judgmental. So this is another way to to work towards being more centered, while also understanding that each person like is a whole universe. You don't know really what's happening, so just like judging like the appearance, is like is a default. It's kind of a mirror. Like, it's something inside of you that reflecting on whatever whatever your vocabulary, and from there, like, you judge a person where they can be completely from another universe, maybe parallel universe, maybe another galaxy.
Yeah.
They come to teach you something. And like, I think this is maybe something I had, and is something about respect, not only compassion, but also respect the other person. Although they can be asshole, and I can acknowledge that they're asshole. I'm not only like peace and love and everything is peace, but really see the reality, see all the colors, and understand that every person have a light and have a shadow.
Totally.
Just respect that.
Yep.
Respect that the way I wish people respect me if I'm not centered, I'm weak or whatever.
Yep.
So I think like there's like a wide variety of topics that we can work and work in a place that we get like strength in our center. And how we do that is, I think each person have to find what communicate better. I think each person can find different healer that is more clicking to their personality. There's no one person that it can be the master for everyone. Each person will have, some people like really like love very enthusiastic people, and some people like very mellow because it calms their spirit. And I believe that it's good to have someone to inspire you. For someone that you understand that they're higher frequency, and they can being a guide, show you like a torch. It's like, okay, you can see. I also don't believe that someone need to tell you anything, because it has to be like that, this aha of growing, expanding and healing, they really have to come from inside of you. And when I'm teaching and initiating healers, I teach them how to be a guide without telling people, oh, you need to do that. This is why you are like this. Your guides are telling me that you're completely off and you have to
That's
divorce and do this and this and that. I mean, I can see people that they're completely in like a rotten environment, and it's still not my work to tell you, to tell anyone that is rotten, get out of there now. It really have to come from inside of them. I can open their senses to notice that it smells bad. It's like, okay, now I can smell that it's rotten, and maybe I can do something about it, and empower them to understand that they can do something about it, because it's our responsibility to take care of our life. Nobody will do it for us. And we are also to understand that we are creating our lives. So we have responsibility to recreate it. We have the power to create something like beautiful. Why not? No? I mean, if we are creators or co-creators, we can create anything that we like. It's better we choose something like, something that works well and harmonious and beautiful. For me, beauty is important. Maybe, just because I'm an artist and visual artist, and I think beauty is important. Maybe from another person will be something else that is important. And this is exactly where I start. When people come to me for a session, I ask them, what are your priorities? And this is, I always start with that. Because person, maybe some people will be like relationships. Some people will be like soul purpose. Some people like spiritual connection. Some people will be like, buy a house and
Yeah.
more cash flow. I
Yeah.
respect every person with their priorities, because from there you can access anywhere else. And at the
Mm.
end, like working on their self-esteem, that they believe that they have worth, to like, they're worthy to have a
Yep.
healthy relationship. They're worthy to have like abundance of cash. They're worthy to be healed. I really
Mm-hmm.
like to start with that. For a lot of people, this is like a big point, and from there they can evolve, and from there they can connect to their life purpose, and etc., etc. Each person is a whole universe, but there's a lot of things that similar, and
Wow.
yeah, as a healer, we need to find our way, our niche, how to like,
Yeah.
our people, our tribe.
Yep.
And yeah, I think this is important also as a healer, to find what is your strength, and to
Yep.
understand that like the people come to you because this is your strength. And maybe uh, that's why so many people come to me to work on their relationships, because this is something
Mm.
that I have in my auric field.
Yep.
This is something, that a gift that comes to me. Or working on self-esteem, maybe because I worked on my self-esteem,
Mm.
that was not good, and now where my self-esteem is healthy, I can support other people on this path, because I have that grid. you
Right.
know if you've been sexually abused and you healed it, you can help so much other people who've been sexually abused.
Mm.
This is like
Yeah.
basically, like when you heal something, this is like a key for you, that is something that you definitely can support other people on this path. you know
Yeah. I'm so curious, no, I didn't intend to ask this question and not to get off track, but for me, self-esteem is like probably my big Achilles heel. And it's the root of like every issue. And I think, self-worth and self-esteem, it's such a tough wound to have. And it's part of how I ended up in this lineage and in this work. Why is it so difficult? The self-esteem wound, like, can it be healed?
so first, like, healing is possible. Any kind of healing is possible. So if someone comes to me with issues of self-esteem, or with cancer, or with like cold, it for me is the same. It's something
Okay.
to heal, and let's
Yep.
go. You know,
Yep.
the thing is, like, there's like a soul purpose, and sometimes you're like, it's set on stone, working on self-esteem. So you arrive to this world already with a whole, like, life experiences that bring you back to yourself, to work on your self-esteem, because
Yep.
this is something that you have to like do this before you get out of this life.
Yep.
It's like, this is like,
Check.
and there's so many levels, because you worked on healing, emotional, and like mental, and spiritual, and then like there's more layers and more layers, and then you start sharing until you get to a layer that you're strong enough, and then you teach. So I'm sure that where you are right now is very different than 15 years ago, when you realize you have to work on it, or 30 years ago, when you even didn't know there's an issue, but
Yeah.
you're just like a leaf in the air, always put yourself below other people. So there's like, we are like multidimensional beings, and that's why it looks like, oh my god, the healing is never ending, but it's not. Like,
Exactly.
you always heal another layer, another layer, another layer, and like things from like the ancestors line, genetics, and like,
Mm-hmm.
collective consciousness. At the end, there's like so many layers, and sometimes like what you think is yours at the end is not yours anymore, but it's
I
part of the
know.
collective consciousness, and you're still
I
working
know.
on it.
I know.
You know?
It's so wild because recently I started thinking about my self-esteem wound in terms of it's starting to feel like it's braided in with my matrilineal um, line so deeply. So for so many years, I was like, this is my wound primarily. I was sexually abused when I was a child. So, yes, there is that. And now I'm starting to feel this line, the ancestral line of women behind me. And the other day I was just like, oh, and instead of this feeling daunting, it's like, okay, obviously my soul chose, that's a hard one sometimes to digest, but it's like, that's the only way for me to feel empowered. Some days it's just like, I'm like one of 13 trillion, whatever stars that got a chance to be here. I chose this exact moment to come here and do this work, not just for myself, for my whole lineage, for the collective. And that's, yeah, some days that doesn't, I don't always feel that strong, but that's something that I have to remind myself of.
Yeah, it's a huge collective, especially a collective like challenge, especially for women. And until we will not see more and more and more women in leadership, at least like equal to the amount of how many men in leadership or more, that can really help our humanity,
Yeah.
And that's until we will not see that, that means there's more work to do.
Yeah.
More work on the collective, and we still see that, if there's like, unfortunately, if there's like abuse in the family, a lot of times it's more the woman that suffer than the man.
Yeah.
And like what attracted, it's still the whole like
Dynamic.
Crazy constellation that we have here.
Yeah.
The whole dynamic of like of our society. And that's why empowerment is a big word. And maybe for some people that is just, okay, we heard it so much.
Right.
It's like, okay, it's already boring. But, boring or not is something that is really important, that women stand for each other, and women like, strength, like they do work together.
Exactly.
So they're healing their self-esteem. They start having like a good reflection from other women, and till they reach to a point where they understand that, respect completely themselves, and value their gifts to humanity. It's not about like being like men, but being like women, and loving yourself, and also leading, because like this word is missing so much, that feminine leadership.
Yeah.
Also in some women leaders.
I see that so much. And that's like definitely one of the shifts that I have been praying for, is to see women in their divine feminine leading from from the female paradigm. And that, I think, as that vibration is continuing to come on the planet and anchor in, for me, I get a lot of inspiration in the social media space, because I'm seeing so many amazing women starting to step up and embody their work in whatever, it's like whatever specialty they're in herbs. Some women are doing womb work, some women are, and it's like the witches are stepping up, and so I find that incredibly inspiring. And unfortunately, we do really need it in the public sphere. We need women stepping into all of those areas. I think a lot of women that are on this path, the thought of like going into like the political realm, or doing the work in the public, is just like, there's a lot of resistance to that, because it's like, oh, who wants to go into the battlefield, or who wants to go into a system that's completely crumbling?
Yeah, because it has to change, and this is like part of the change. Like many systems are going down, and even if you notice like different like family dynamics, constellations, everything is changing so much. Relationships are so different than how it used to be, and this is part of it. The resistance not to step on like where the leadership roles where like men were holding, is because the whole system is like rotten. It has to be rebuilt from something new, from like like different concepts and
Yep.
like sharing and heart connection and all that feminine
Yep.
energy that is not only for women, but also for
Exactly.
men. And thank God you can see more and more men that are connected to that, to this
Yeah.
energy, like fewer but than women, but they're coming.
Yep.
Thank
They
God
are coming.
they start working on their emotional body and this is like so important. And it's happening. We cannot stop that. I
No.
mean, this is like a wave that is coming anyway. We are
Yep.
part of it, and the thing is, it's easier if we participate.
Exactly. Exactly.
And we can participate also with humor, with joy. We can participate with whatever energy that we add. It doesn't have to be through like the old-fashioned way, like digging and suffering and like oh my God, it's so hard to forgive and whatever. It's just like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's do the work. We're going down, come back. We're going down. Okay, let's come back again. It's like, like little children. Just think about toddlers that learn to walk and they don't think about, oh my God, I fell and I cry and I don't want to do it again. And it's like, okay, try again.
Get back up.
Let's do it again. Back up. And this is like where the emotional body keep dragging us, because it's like it has like all the codes, all the blocks, all the old stuff there, and that's okay. The thing is like, all right, but we don't have to stay there. We don't have, I mean, it's just like, okay, let's get courage, let's get the joy, let's get whatever can inspire us. Just like you don't have to get out of the house to receive inspiration today. You just like fine, go on YouTube, and there's like so many things that you can just like listen to or watch or for me, like being in nature is such a healing, like see green or the blue of the ocean, or doing something with art is like the nature, like that, like full blessing for everyone. And if someone cannot get there, you can just go online and listen to something that nourish them and not like bullshit stuff. There's so much bullshit. We have to really honor our emotions and not going into anywhere that the frequency is lower. And we just, how can we know if the frequency is lower? It's just like, just listen. Do you feel good? Do you feel not good? That's it. Oh, if I watch a horror film, I will feel afraid. I will feel bad. It will hunt me maybe in the night with my thoughts or whatever. I don't waste energy on that.
Totally.
Like, I don't waste my energy. I prefer to like get in the place where I am inspired, and then in the midst of a challenge, I can be fine, because like I watch my body and I'm like, I'm going back. And like in the last few months, I can tell from my own experience, I went through another big shift, because I was married for the second time for many, many years, 20 years together, 18 years of marriage, living together, sharing, working together. And it ended. It was time to end. And there's like grief around it. There's a lot of emotion. There's like many difficult waves, but you go there. And inside that big wave, you don't even know when you're going to come out, but it's like, okay. But no, it's not. You're not going to stay there. And when you go up, it's like, all right, hallelujah. Let's celebrate a little bit when I'm like out of this deep water. And then you see that each time you go in, the waves are less deep and they're less frequent.
Yes.
And, but you have to ride in the wave. Yeah. You cannot fight with it. And I'm not interested in like staying there. Forget it. I don't enjoy my life. I mean, like
exactly.
Life is short. And I have friends that already passed, and family members that already passed on, and like, they're just reminding me that we all gonna go. So better when we stay, we're already doing the best that we can, and and serve whatever it is, to be part of like, of the transition team of humanity. Whatever is going on now is like huge. It's like, okay, let's do it, and let's do it with some humor, because if you look at at the old structure that falling apart is like,
Yeah. Yeah, it can
is
be
hard.
it can be really daunting. This is such a gift to hear you talk about joy and doing things with humor. And that's like I love laughing with you, and your medicine, that's part of your medicine, is that levity, because I know you fucking go deep. I've been in your presence. It's like of course, like you can sense it even just online, but when you're in your presence, it's like, bam, not afraid to go there, but like, let's have some joy and humor. And I think just for me, I get so like caught up in like, I don't know if it's like my soul feels like there's such a job to do that I almost get like squashed down with pressure. It's like there's a part of me that's like, I'm not doing, I don't know what it is. I'm not doing my mission. I'm not doing my it's something like, you're not doing it right. It's like, it's wild, because it's like, can I get it wrong? I don't know.
Right, you cannot get it wrong. It's exactly that. And also respecting your part of personality. You came with that kind of personality that charge yourself for more, and like for more perfectionism, and for more, like you can study a lot of like, you can get so much self knowledge about Enneagram and horoscope, the astrology, like, so all the effects that on your personality. And at the end, also have compassion to yourself. It's like, okay, I know this voice is part of my constellation.
Right.
And I mean, okay, it's sweet. I like to look at it as like, all right, sweet, is cute, is that child, the child in me that used to be like that all the time. I'm not pushing it out. I'm not like, all right, fuck off. You're not welcome here, because I just want to feel joy. But it's just, all right, you're here, and just welcome it and accept it, but don't give it so much space. When I always like to get another perspective, like ego perspective, another perspective, and as much as I get like a higher perspective, it's easy. Like, I see the vision, and I look at myself from like a higher perspective, and I don't get so much attached to all the voices that I see. And these voices don't get like overwhelming anymore, because you get in a higher perspective as a mother, and see the toddler, like, like, I don't know, they get crying and a whole drama over something that is, it's nothing, but go explain to them, it's nothing. You just have to hug them and like, okay, this thing, and then they forget about it and it's gone, so I like to mother myself. I like to mother myself a lot. I don't,
Beautiful.
like, not all of that us had a mother that knew exactly what to do. So we have to like to do that to us, to all these voices of that child of like, don't think they're good enough. They have so much stress because they have to like show that accomplishment, or, maybe there's more and more. And this is also part of like, when we are looking outside, there's so much work. There's so many people who needs help. There's so many. I mean, like, we are in the transition, and there's so much work to do. And thank God we don't have to do it by ourselves. This is like, all right, we have to relax, take a deep breath, and first work on ourselves. First, and like, and the first thing is just relax. I'm here, and I need to feel good. That's it. All what that we need to feel good. I have a whole list that I made in the last week that I need to accomplish, and I haven't done that. It's like, okay, can wait. 1 more week, 2 more weeks, 1 month. Who cares? Right now, what do I need to feel good? Oh, maybe make love with my hubby. Maybe to make a nice meal. Maybe just relax, stare at the air and doing nothing. I learned that nothing is such a challenge, and it's such a blessing as well. We have to do some nothing, because that's the yin part. This is the part where we integrate. This is the part where we are, having a space for something new to enter. There's so much new. There's so much new that needs to enter. We need to give nothing that's like that pattern of like feeling guilty of not doing something. This is like it's old school already, you know.
Yep.
I mean, this is like the masculine energy.
Yeah,
To do,
totally.
have to do, and feeling guilty of not doing, and feeling proud of being busy. Oh, I've been busy the whole week, and I
Right.
feel like there's a lot of like connection of our self-importance or self-value of like a
Yep.
compliment. And now, I mean, actually, our goal is to feel happy, to
Yep.
feel joy, to feel good. Yeah,
Yeah.
feeling good.
So much shifts when we're in the receptive and just being state, getting in that space and being able to shift, and so much can shift from that. It doesn't even take very long,
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
the dance with the universe, because to understand that we are never alone and we don't do anything by ourselves.
Yeah.
But we need, like in the universe, need us to have the intention to reflect.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like my paintings. If you see me paint, I probably half the time just staring at the canvas.
Yeah,
I need that space to just
totally.
reflect and just like,
Yep.
oh, okay, and then you do. And this is that space is the whole dance. Like, all right,
Yep.
I have an intention, and my intention is that, and I want to do something for it. But then it's enough to send the intention and let the universe co-create with you. All
Yep.
right, they get it. They
Yep.
get it. The universe, your guides, your angels, your like the whole whatever, your soul, they're all coming together to make it happen. But if you're too busy, you miss the opportunities that of creativity, of surprises.
Yes. Yep.
I love surprises. I mean,
Yeah.
like I nourish from surprises, from things that
Mm.
happen, and like I love to surprise my students. If you remember, I don't like to tell them everything that's happened, because I think
Yeah,
it would be so boring to know everything.
totally.
We
Yeah.
have to get that, and to understand that we are never alone. We are really never alone, and like it's all about frequency. So if we don't take care of maintain a high frequency, whatever happens to us will reflect what is in our vibration. So if you're not sure what kind of frequency you have, just notice what kind of day, what you have during the day, what kind of conversation, how do you feel? Everything is part of your frequency. What has happened to you? Do you have an accident? All right.
Mm.
You probably maintain a really low frequency for a while,
Mm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
this is why it's so important to understand that it is our responsibility
Yep.
to maintain a higher frequency.
Yep.
And it's not that we'll not go to the lower ones. We're used to it. But
Yep.
as soon as we realize that we're not happy, it's like, okay,
It's my
happiness
job.
is a high frequency.
Yeah.
That's it. We have to really understand, to be in a place of love, to be a place of compassion, a place that we feel good. This is when we understand, all right, this is the right frequency. And this frequency attract to us, the law of attraction. It just attract to us
Exactly.
something with similar frequencies.
Yeah.
I'm tired of hearing people like desperate to have a relationship. And it's like, but you're so desperate. How are you going to have a relationship?
Exactly. You can't, those two frequencies don't go together. Speaking of joy and high frequency, I want to talk about your art, which just like totally lifts me up when I see it. How much does or did plant medicine play a role in your style and evolution of painting?
Understanding that psychedelics have helped many, many, many people like evolve and like be grateful for it.
Yep.
And like you can see like some cavemen's pictures, and you can see them with like mushrooms.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
evolution of humanity happened a lot because different psychedelics that
Yep.
opened the door for us to see beyond the physical realms and to understand that there's much more.
Yep.
And I think this is like where it was influence on my painting, to understand there's more, and this is that more. I think what it got me in the beginning is more focus on different details. I think I was not so much into details, and it brought me more on details. And then later, like bring like I really tried to bring all the visions, and I'm not like so skillful as Alex Gray. Like he's amazing of bringing like technical things from the astral realms into the canvas. And for me, I realized that I can bring the feeling, I can bring the energy, the light, and some extra messages, and it does reflect to people, because my path is more about healing. A lot of time I like what it did, it opened the door, I think, of like different portals through my third eye to understand that I can convey different things from the astral plane on the physical, as above, so below, and bring it through my paintings. Where before that experience, or these many experiences, I was I was more probably on the emotional place or mental, like was painting from my mental body or the emotional body, and I think like the medicine work brought more the spiritual and the energetic and the healing into the painting. And I think this is like the door that the medicine, the plant medicine has opened. It opened like different portals, and sometimes I get from people that something that the value that they see in my painting, and that I know sometimes I bring, but sometimes I'm not even conscious about it anymore. It's just become part of me. And it's something that, like, I think you said something before. What was that? That, about the spirit, about entities, that the person was possessed. I mean, like, all these things, they are like, you talk about it like it's something common, but it was not common before. Right? We didn't grow up knowing about different entities.
No.
Maybe we heard about ghosts and Ghostbuster. It was in a film, and that's it. We didn't really understand all what is happening. And when you start opening your third eye and you start seeing like all the different levels in the auric field, and the different, like, maybe even dimensions or universes or whatever it is, after a while you get your tribe that is easier to talk about it, and it's not strange.
Yes.
But still, it will be strange for so many others.
Yeah.
And that's why art is a good form to teach people, because not everyone have the opportunity to access the teachings from the medicine.
Yes.
And some people will get the plant medicine for their emotional process, and not necessary as a teaching tool. A place to like reflect. And I think this is what artists, like, when they get to work with other plants or mushrooms or anything like that, like, they become teachers. So you probably notice that through your voice as well, right? I mean, for me, it's art, when it's painting. I know many musicians that, like, I mean, you can use words that make sense to people and teach them, but sometimes it's just a vibration that is different. And through this vibration, you emanate a lot of different teachings. We can call them downloads, right? So artist has like a big role in for humanity, for the transformation of what is happening now.
It's amazing. Someone could look at that picture, look at the painting you did of Yaya just behind you, and like through that painting, have an enlightened moment. It's so beautiful.
Thank you.
It's just amazing.
It's growing with her. I started when she was younger, and then it's keep so, like, part of the medicine here is also for her, things that she needs, for her. self-esteem, for her healing, for,
And the
so like
dancers.
that, but it definitely can emanate for anyone else.
Yeah.
Right.
It's amazing. So Yaya, her daughter is a dancer, and so the dancers here in the painting it's just stunning.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I use my art a lot as a tool, and in the beginning I use that consciously, but I didn't really realize how much I do until actually things really manifested from my art.
Yeah.
For example, I have maybe I shared with you this story before, and I'm going to share with the people who's listening and watching, that I was working with a woman that was never in a long term relationship. She was like already 50 years old and beautiful woman, and she was like full of different blocks. So I started working with her about like releasing vows that she made and cord cuttings, and I work with light language to shift her self-value, and I work with a lot of things, and still something was missing. And then she asked me for a painting. So I painted her with like, kind of like her and another man, beautiful man, and there's like a tree like she was from like, Munich, and it needed like more nature, and like I brought all the elements that I thought were like missing, and I sent it to her, and she was like, oh, it's nice, but I'm not sure. I thought you're going to paint it like as a goddess. And it's like, okay, you need a man in your home, in your apartment, even in a painting.
Yep.
In 3 months, this man appeared. He looks exactly like the man in the painting.
No way.
We brought him to Brazil to one of our festivals for me to meet him. And he said, I even have the same shirt as you painted. So this is where like the visionary come, like, you don't know, but like you pick up things that probably from a potential parallel universe, or some like we always have. It's not like someone psychic will tell you this is your future and that's it. I don't believe in that. I feel like we have different frequencies that we can connect, and I probably could connect to one that had this like beautiful man, a yoga teacher, 10 years younger than her, adores her to the max, and
so
they're still
perfect
together since. So this is where I realized that whatever we're doing is a prayer, and I can use my art as a prayer. And I go and I paint and I use my brush, and not only the stroke but the colors, and whatever I do there at the end is a masterpiece for that person. And it doesn't matter if it looks like them or not. It can be like few lines, but if it has that intention, that intention will bring back results.
Amazing.
And it's everything that we do. I mean, life can be a prayer. If we walk with like, intention, if we eat with intention, if we make love with intention, if we are working on the computer within, like, whatever we bring, whatever frequency, whatever intention is what actually manifests at the end, like a certain results. And this is basically part of the secrets of this universe, and I think like living from a prayer, and it doesn't matter what you do, is what will bring you a beautiful life. And when we get it all together as a community, as like, community of human beings, we will create like a beautiful manifestation here. And we started with ourselves, Yeah.
Wow. Well, we could talk all day, but with that, I think you can't leave it at a better spot. So, after you move and get settled in, I'll have to have you on again.
All right. Be wonderful. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Karen.
You're so welcome. Thank you for inviting me. Such a pleasure. And I know you have so much magic in your art, in your voice. It's such a blessing and a gift to witness that, and like, I just wish it will continue and like bring miracles around you and to your own life.
Thank you. The Heartlight Sessions podcast is executive produced and hosted by me, Jenee Halstead. It's edited, mixed, and mastered by me too. And that theme song you hear, it's called Heartlight. And yep, you guessed it, it's from my record Disposable Love. Got questions about a certain healing modality? Or about heart-centered healing? Or maybe you just need some advice on life, love, or creativity? Send it my way. Email me at letters@heartlightpodcast.com. Until next time, I'm Jenee Halstead, and thanks for listening to Heartlight Sessions. Turning on my heart light, 1,000 volts of sunshine.